Hello, welcome to the Sketchbook app. This is installed on your iPad. This is a free app. It is most comparable to a Photoshop program. One of the most important things to know about this app is it is a really powerful app. It has a ton of built-in functionality that can let you make really outstanding digital works of art without needing to have art supplies. The thing that is most significant to me as an artist who's worked in Photoshop is that this program allows you to work in layers, which means that you can think of layers like a big stack of papers stacked on top of each other that are transparent. You can put individual items on those layers. You can reorder the layers and change how they're stacked. You can throw things away if you don't like what you did. So it's a really powerful tool in that regard. I'll kind of show you a drawing here that has layers in it, and you can see if I hide all these layers, I'll show you actually how the drawing was built. By hiding all these things, I started out with a blank piece of paper. I added texture. You can see all this on the right. This is the shadow of my turtle. There's the turtle without details. And so if I didn't love the details, I could just take that layer away and try again. If I didn't love the shadows, I didn't think they worked, I could just throw that layer away and do something else. So it's a really powerful tool that gives you a lot of ability to basically play with a design without a lot of consequence. So let's look at this setup. On the right hand side is the layer dialog box, the long rectangle with the plus sign at the top. To create new layers, you hit the plus symbol, and you can see it's building the boxes. Whichever layer you are in, if I were to just kind of quickly draw an item here, you will see that that item pops up in the layer. To delete layers, you just simply tap on them, and it opens up another dialog box, and I'm just going to use a trash can. There's other things that you could explore in here that are really handy, but for the most part, we just need to be able to delete and to add layers. All right, I'm going to go ahead, and above that we have a color picker. So this looks like a can of, like a pop can. When you tap that big circle, it pops up an outer ring where you can customize kind of what area of the color wheel you want to focus on. The inner ring actually lets you select the value of that color, whether you have the hue, a shade of that color, a tint of that color, or a tone of that color. So if you're kind of familiar with color theory, you can get that. If we drop way down to the bottom, there's a little tiny circle. I'm going to kind of put a circle around where it lives. That little circle, when you tap it, pops up a quick, kind of like almost a quick menu of things that you might need to do. So you can see there's some things here. And you can get rid of things, change your color. So there's some other things here that you may or may not want to use. On the left-hand side, we have our toolbar. This app comes with a preset of these tools. You can scroll up. It kind of just chooses a few out of every section that it has available to you. One thing that is super cool about this app is that you can change the size of your brush, and you can see up here where my line is kind of a dashed right above where it is. It's showing you how big that brush is right now. So of course, the smaller I go, the thinner my line, and you can kind of see how that's working out. But the other thing that's really cool is I can adjust the opacity, how much of that color, how transparent that color is. So way down at the bottom, it is really transparent and see-through, and up at the top, it's full strength of that color. Clear at the top of this box. So this one comes preset with a couple things, but if you click on the very top button, it actually gives you a whole library of things to choose from. So you can choose everything from like these crazy background colors. So if I kind of do, I'm going to come over here and get rid of this layer. So if I were to choose one of these background layers, I can apply this. Of course, I can change the size of it if I want to kind of get it more to stand out more. There's texture brushes where you can kind of add in a little bit of texture if you want. And there's dynamic brushes, which these ones are really interesting. So if I put this on here, they actually kind of paint with a texture. And there's splatters, glowing, smudging brushes all the way down, and some pretty traditional things that artists might use. So there's even air brushes on here, but you can kind of tap on them and see up at the very top with the name of the brush what it does and what it looks like before you kind of commit to it to see what it's doing. Anytime you see a checkerboard symbol, it means that brush is transparent. Now let's look at the very top toolbar. We have up here, this one on the left is a gallery. It takes you to a new sketch, the gallery where all your artwork lives. You can share in here, so this is where you kind of share. You're familiar with that. A undo, redo button. And then we have this box here. We're not going to spend any time here. This is a selection button. If you needed to select something or part of something. This button, however, next to it, we will use this one that is, oh goodness, I'm going to try to switch and draw a little arrow to it. This little one right here, this is a move tool for us. And so I'm going to go ahead and put something really quick in a different layer. So let's say I'm going to draw a really super sketchy bow and arrow. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and click this move tool. Whichever one of these, whichever layer I'm on, it lets me move that piece. I can twist it with my fingers. I can enlarge that. If I want, you can use these things to distort. You can flip things horizontally, vertically, make it go round and round. So there's a lot of freedom here to kind of get things the way you want them. And then you click done and it will save what you have done. Occasionally when I'm out on this screen, I've been able to pinch and zoom and actually manipulate certain pieces by pinching and zooming in this screen. But for the most part, I need to click on that little plus up and down. You can reorganize your layers, by the way. So if I want that heart to be on the top, you can reshuffle your layers by dragging them. Of course, you're used to paintbrush. This one is ruler, different kind of guides for you. One really cool thing is the symmetry feature, so you should play with that some. Of course, we have shapes and predictive stroke, and I actually have up on this menu, I'm going to go back up here, you can actually slide this toolbar back and forth, so if you have lost some things, you can find them just by scrolling your toolbar. It is possible that your toolbar just kind of got lost. One other fun thing to do is you can go in and you can click on the camera roll and you can bring in anything that you want. You can scale and size that. And of course, if I wanted to move this down to the bottom, I could. And then you see my drawing on top of it and you can get rid of things. But one of the things that I want to focus on that we'll spend a lot of time on in the next video is our text tool. So the text tool is this letter T up on the top. It allows you, if you are not using an Apple Pencil, to type. And within that, you can click on the big A, little a in the dialog box above it, and it will let you choose some pre-installed fonts. You can change the color of those fonts of your letters. So I'm going to change that and it automatically changes your letters. Of course, you can distort your letters. You can go upside down, kind of move them however you like. And you can do some of the same things that we saw in with that rotating line. So that is where we're going to stop for today. I would encourage you to play with this app and see what you can come up with. Some of the things I'll show you really quick. I imported a picture of Dwight Schrute. So if you're not a great or if you're not a very confident artist, you can bring in a photo, then you can trace that photo. So I actually traced Dwight kind of with a little sketch pen, and then I started just building him up to make him my own cartoon character. So there's a lot of ways that you can use this. I would encourage you to play with it, have some fun with it, and see what you can make.